boundaries, right? And one of the first words and the first thing you teach your young child is the word no. Our whole lives we hear, no, don't do that. No, don't be like that. No, don't talk so much. No. We hear all these things. No, you can't do that. No, you're not capable of that. No, you can't go there. And so what do? We start conforming to what everybody else thinks. Other people's expectations, other people's shoulds, other people's version or vision of our life, of how we should be living, of what we should be doing. And then, all of a sudden, we find ourselves in these lives where we're serving every other person but ourselves. And at that point in our lives, we're under someone else's control, and they're calling the shots. And as a child, there was a point when those reins started to loosen, and we learned to put some of our own limitations into play. That's where we started to grow up as an individual. The phase where we start determining where we end and other people begin. And we started gaining the courage to stand our ground with the things that we deemed important to us and our well-being. And we inadvertently started to learn the importance and power of setting boundaries. The problem, we're on this journey of self-discovery, but we also develop the desire of not wanting to disappoint others, a desire to be accepted, a desire to be liked, the dread of not wanting to let others down. And so we began to pursue that sense of belonging at the expense of ourselves. Somehow boundaries became a bad thing. Somehow they became a negative. Somehow setting a boundary meant we were telling someone to go away. We were keeping people at arm's length, and it was something to feel guilty about. But it isn't something to feel guilty about. And that reluctance to put boundaries in place, well, we have to embrace the idea that boundaries aren't negative, and that boundaries are good for everyone involved. And when I set strong boundaries and take care of myself, I'm able to be better for everybody else around me. But somehow we got to a point where this is a bad thing, and so we're reluctant to put those boundaries in place for our protection. Our lack of boundaries become weapons of manipulation for others, creating constant disruption in our lives and living with a lack of control and finding ourselves actually in toxic environments. Hey there. Michelle O'Neill here, and I always say, with every problem, somewhere in there, you'll probably find a lack of boundaries. However, not only is it setting them hard, but also keeping them is even harder. That's one of the core foundations of work that I do with my clients in the Run Your Life Mastery experience. Understanding why you keep making the same mistakes, knowing without a shadow of a doubt what your non-negotiables are, and choosing the right boundaries at the right time and for the right reasons, and creating a plan to work it all out. That's why an experience in mastery is so important. It's good to have a great understanding of the problem and having a plan there to get the results. We talk about self-awareness. We talked about boundaries. And I share with you some of the struggles that it takes to get to that point. And now we're going to put it all together. Now we're going to talk about what it means to have a plan to keep you on track, to move things forward. Wouldn't you want that? Hey, in my Run Your Life Mastery experience, we tackle the things that are currently taking over your life, and you're able to start putting the necessary boundaries in place, and there is less distraction, more space, more time for self-care, and you start actually smiling and enjoying life more. But the root to all of that comes down to having a plan. That's what we're going to talk about in our last video. And if you haven't watched those videos, the other ones, if you miss one of those, even one, I'll put the link in the comments. You don't want to miss them.